I'm Wade McGinnis with Thoroughbred Diesel, and today we're going to be installing a new air-to-water intercooler from No Limit Fabrication on our 2012 6.7 Ford Power Stroke. Today we're installing a new air-to-water intercooler on our 2012 6.7 Ford Power Stroke. So what we've actually got a truck down situation. The guys at No Limit Fabrication sent us a new air-to-water intercooler, and we're going to put this on the truck today. But we want to talk about what happened with this truck. So we had the cold side intercooler pipe burst on our Power Stroke, which is very common, happens to all of them. Inside of that pipe, we noticed that a significant amount of coolant, so we knew that there was a coolant compromise somewhere in the truck. Found it to be the air-to-water intercooler. Now, we've already removed the air-to-water intercooler, so this is an installation video today, but we had to test this piece, so we had to have it out of the truck to do that. So we won't be showing you this, but it's 2 bolts to get it out. I'll show you going back with the new No Limit Fab piece, some of the things that we run into. So we had again, we had a coolant failure on this one, a core failure on this one, so we were having some coolant leak through on it. So now let's talk about the No Limit Fabrication piece. So this air-to-water intercooler from No Limit Fab, this is an all TIG welded piece. It's really nice. I mean, it's another one of those engineered pieces. It's just, you really don't want to put it in the truck and use it. You want to put it on your coffee table at the home and sit your drink on it. But it does actually cure a couple of other problems that are inside the truck. Not only are we not going to have any problems with another core failure out of this unit, it also gets rid of a couple of the normal Ford chintzy coolant hose quick connects. If you've worked on Fords, you guys know what I'm talking about. We get good old American silicone coolant hoses that they're going to be replaced with that No Limit Fab sends in this kit. So again, this is for the 11 to 16 Power Strokes. Before you put this in the truck, there's a couple of things that have to come off of the stock one. I'm going to show you those real quick. There is a rubber isolator here that needs to come out. This will go on your new one. There is a isolation pad on the bottom of the Ford stock one that comes out. And then there is a little screw clip here that comes out as well. I'm going to show you how to get that off real quick. I actually don't have the tool with me, but there's a little center spring on this. The center spring, just get it with a pick, pull it, bend it out, and that lets that come right off. And that way you're not jabbing a screwdriver in there and prizing and screwing this up. So now when you put this back on the new unit, you'll just push this clip back in and it'll hold. So that's all the hardware you have to transfer over. So now let's go ahead and get that transferred onto the unit, and then we're going to drop it back in the truck. Just a couple of things on the installation of your No Limit Fabrication air-to-water intercooler. The first thing that you're going to want to do on this truck, and I like to always talk about this, number one, for safety reasons, and number two, it's something that people argue with me on YouTube every day about, is removing the battery cables. But let me tell you why you want to remove all 4 of your battery cables on this truck while you're doing this job. In and out with this air-to-water intercooler, if you were to ground both to the ground and the power side of this, you're going to have a hell of a spark, and your $1,000 air-to-water intercooler is going to have a hole blown in it. So don't do that. Just don't do that. All right, so now that you've got all 4 of your battery cables off, the first thing I want you to do before you try to put your intercooler back in is you're going to want to remove the Ford hose on your upper and lower side here. They just got clamps on them. Go ahead and unclamp them and remove those. This is where our No Limit new silicone hoses are going to hook up, which is going to be really a lot nicer in getting these unhooked from air-to-water intercooler if we've got to take it out to make any necessary repairs on the secondary water pump or the alternator or anything of that nature. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now, and then we'll be back when we drop in the air-to-water. Before you set your air-to-water intercooler in, you're going to want to put your long hose that No Limit sends you on the air-to-water. It's just going to make it a whole lot easier on you. So go ahead and put the longer of the 2 hoses on the bottom of the air-to-water. And you're going to want to put your clamp on as well, so you've going to have access to it. And also make sure that you turn the worm screw on your clamp into a position to where you're going to get it. So you kind of want that angled back towards the front of the truck, kind of like this right here. Then that will get you to your factory Ford supply. So now we're ready to set this unit in the truck. So we'll go ahead and set our air to water in now. Just be real careful going through this. Again, I've got both of my, or all 4 of my battery cables off. This truck has got a twin turbo setup on it, so we have actually taken the upper charge pipe off as well. We already had the cold side intercooler pipe off because the cold side intercooler pipe bursting is kind of what the problem we had was. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and drop this in. Just again, want to make sure you've got this hose on here, just easier on you, in my opinion. So we're going to go ahead and drop her in here. And then that hose, if you just simply push it, it will fall right in there for you. So now we just make sure that we're down on our pad and that both of our bolts line up, and voila, that's where we need to, that's what we want right there. We're getting ready to set our air to water intercooler in here now. So the first thing that we're going to do is, so you put the longer hose on the air to water just for convenience, because it's going to be a little bit harder to get to it on here now. Now we're going to put the smaller hose that Low Limit sends you. We're going to go ahead and put it on the coolant line that you removed the Ford OE end from. So the lower one here, you're going to go ahead and just want to put that on. Don't forget to put your clamp on there, and you can move it out of your way. You can tie it back up here once you've got the silicone on. I would leave the clamp off of it. I would not do the clamp until you get the air to water in here, so that you've got room to move everything around. These 2 coolant lines are now ready for you to set this in here. Again, remember, undo all 4 battery cables. Can't stress that enough, because if this grounds out, especially on the box, you can blow a hole in it. And I don't know why in the previous scene, the power steering pump here, I call it secondary water pump, so forgive me for that. So here we go. We're ready to set the air to water intercooler in here. Make sure that you don't forget your pad here on the air to water. And then of course you've got your hose on here, and we are ready to kind of sit it in. So just some gentle finagling. Be careful what you do here. Don't forget you are working with coolant lines. Like right there, you can cut that battery line. My hose that I put in here, and she slid right in. One thing that I do there as well to make that just a little bit easier is the transmission cooler lines, where these cooler lines go to the transmission. What I actually do here is I will unbutton these cooler lines from the fan shroud. It's got a little push pin in it right there. I undid the push pin, and there's a push pin for this one back here to keep the lines going to the transmission cooler, just to hold them up. I like for them to be behind the air to water intercooler, so I don't have any problems getting my intercooler pipe that's going to go big on here. So it doesn't put them in a kink or anything like that. It doesn't it doesn't let them be in a position where they can hurt anything. So we're good to go there. So we've got our air to water in here. What I'm going to do, just making sure that I'm on my perch, where I've got it in its spot there on the battery tray. We're going to go ahead and get the 2 stock bolts and start them. And what this is going to do, this is going to hold our air to water up for us, where we're not struggling with it. And then you can make any adjustments that you need to make here. I've still got enough gap that I'm going to be able to get a 5/16 ratchet to this clamp to be able to maneuver it. And then my lower hose is not in a pinch either. I can maneuver it around to get it where I need to be. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're just going to kind of get everything worked in here, get our bolts tightened down. and then we'll be back and show you connecting the new coolant lines. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and put a clamp on our upper coolant line here, and we're going to go ahead and get it installed on our air to water. Cool thing about our upper line is it's got a nice no limit fabrication logo on it, which is cool. Make sure as you're installing this that you don't kink anything. There we go. Let's see. Go ahead and do this clamp. All right. Check it. Then we're going to do our lower coolant line, which will lay right over that one. Put a clamp on it. Right here, like so. And then we'll put it on as well. Oh, sorry. Action shot, Adam. It's an action shot. First thing I saw there is I noticed I'm going to have a clamp. One of the forward clamps there is going to rub that line. Is there any way I can get that? I can do that if I wanted to, but I'm going to leave it like so. What I was looking for is if I could put that line in there like so, but that's kind of going to kink it. I like it better laid over like this one here. And then I'll move this clamp around to where it's not going to be touching anything. Tighten the rest of my clamps down. I'm going to tighten my bottom clamp on my coolant line, reinstall my intercooler hoses. I will, at that time, put my upper radiator hose back on, which is just reverse of installation. But that's pretty much going to be it on installing the No Limit Fabrication air to water intercooler. This is a really super nice piece, and we really appreciate the guys at No Limit sending us this and getting this truck back up and on the road. They really did an excellent job on getting the product to us. So product was packaged excellent. No way anything could have dented this in the box. I was very impressed with all of that. So if you have a question on this installation or any 6-7 Power Stroke questions, please give us a call, like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.